So I used to think that The Boys was a really good show. In fact, season one is one of the best season I ever saw in my life. But around season four, it kind of fell off. In fact, I pretty think. In fact, I think season four is pretty forgettable and feels like filler for most of the time. But I basically waste. But I basically wasted like 1/4 of my life watching this show. So I will watch this car crash and burn. So if you needed a So if you needed a background noises or get drunk or get high or just or you just needed to go to sleep, well, I'm your guy because I'm gonna break down episode by episode. bec- Well, I'm your guy because I'm gonna break down episode by episode of season five. Episode eight starts with one of the episode eight starts with one of the worst funeral I ever saw. Like Jesus Christ, they can't take this shit seriously. Like Jesus Christ, they can't take this shit serious for 1 second. Now cut to the now cut to a actually good scene. Ryan and Homelander talking. This scene was actually good. Homelander, like always, is an attention hole, trying to bring Ryan back. Even saying that they're the same person. Ryan calls him out on his bullshit real quick. I just love the acting in this scene. You can really see the hate in Ryan's eye. It's almost I wish I really did wish that Ryan was way more in this season. It's almost like half of the season wasn't supposed to be there. We finally get to see the Gen V again. And well, even though I still don't like them, I'm sure they have a I'm sure they have a big role in this episode. Well, no, they get kicked out again. What the fuck was what the fuck was that? What was the point of bringing them in this season? They didn't do one single important thing in this season. For what? For just another season on another show that nobody is gonna watch? This is filler. This was basically filler. This was filler. This was the Gen V characters was basically filler, bro. We did not needed to see these people. Sage rage bait Sage rage bait Kimiko to use her new power. Sage rage bait Kimiko to use her new power. Now Sage doesn't have any powers anymore. She's just a normal person. Well, that was anticlimactic. Sage was barely Sage was barely useful in this season. And to be honest, she wasn't that useful in season 4 except for like, saving Homelander's ass. Like seriously, didn't anyone really needed to see Sage in this show? Her plans suck, her motivation sucked, and she's not even that smart to begin with. And she's not even that smart to begin with. And her shitty plan with home and her shitty plan in episode 6 was absolutely terrible. The boys are planning to go to the White House to end the boys are planning to the boys are planning to go to the boys are planning to go to the White House to off Homelander, and I really like this place. The White House as a last scene, the White House as a last, the White House as a final battle is the White House as a final battle is actually pretty cool. The Deep tries to team up with the Homelander, but Homelander straight up says that he doesn't respect the Deep. Homelander is getting ready to Homelander is getting ready to say that he's got to America. At the same time, the boys get stuck in a trap, but they get saved by but they get at the same time the boys get stuck, but they get saved by Two-Face Hole. They pull up and they see the Deep, and this setup fight was actually pretty good. I don't mind Starlight and the Deep fighting. If you remember in season one, the if you remember in season one, the Deep essay is Starlight. So if she fights back in this season, it kind of makes sense to be honest. But what doesn't make sense is Starlight bringing the Deep on the beach. Why would you do that? Now, we know, now the audience know that the Deep can't use. Now the audience know that the Deep can't use. Now the audience know that the D can't go to the now the audience knows that the D can't go to the sea anymore, but Starlight doesn't know. In fact, he's supposed to be at his strongest in the sea. So why bring him there? Now we do get to see a really cool scene of Homelander talking crazy, but the only reason why I like this scene is because of the acting. But if you really think about it, if you see a psychopathic maniac saying that he's the god of ashes, well, nobody is gonna believe in you, really. Call me crazy, but I don't think anybody likes a god that thinks that he. Call me crazy, but I don't think anybody likes a crazy god. They kind of like a god that's nice to you and like holy and everything. Butcher finally pulls up. Butcher finally pulls up for the final fight. They start fighting, and okay, you want me to be real? I've been like analyzing a few fights, but this is something I had a problem, even like maybe in season 1 or 2. The action isn't that good. In fact, the action is pretty terrible. The only action scenes I actually like it's with A Train because they act. I don't know why, but I don't know why, but when I see Homelander punching somebody, he doesn't really feel like a Superman. In fact, Homelander should be destroying Butcher right here, but he's not. In fact, he's actually struggling. Like, really struggling. And also, one more thing. Where the fuck is Soldier Boy? This is the last season, and Soldier Boy isn't here. Why? For another show? What was the point? This is the last season. Why would you not put Soldier Boy? Anyways, Homelander is trying to run. Anyways, Homelander is. Anyways, Homelander is trying to. Anyways, Homelander is trying to run away, but Ryan pulls up. And for some reason, they manage to hold him just enough to get rid of this. And for some reason, Ryan and Butcher managed to hold him just long enough for Kimiko to blast him and take off her powers. Wait. No. Soldier Boy, Soldier Boy and Huey and Butcher wasn't even able to hold up Homelander in season 3. But you're telling me this fucking teenager and this old but you're telling me this teenager and Butcher can hold them off just long enough to blast them, and Homelander is supposed to be stronger in this season.